Hello, welcome to our Working with Portraits webinar. This is designed to support the school annual yearbook program. Our goal will be to function on the program associated with school portraits. Specifically, we'll be reviewing printing class sheets for other teachers, school staff, or yearbook staff to look at, review, and correct, strategies for detecting duplicate images, correcting student names, categorizing students, and using flow function to create portrait pages. So let's get started. After your portraits have been sent in to us to be uploaded, they will appear in the portrait section of your image library. To get there, simply click Create Image Library. Once we navigate to the image library, we're going to come over here, we're going to click on Portrait, and you see this little down arrow, we're going to click that. In here, your portraits will be uploaded according to the category you specified when you sent them in, along with the number of images currently in the folder. To print a preview sheet, we're going to click on a class. Up here, you will see the word preview. Hovering over it, it will say preview the selected category's image in a PDF. When we click on it, it will do just that. It will display everything in a PDF. Here, if you scroll down, all the students, including the teacher, will be in this class. You could print this off and send it to this teacher or to your staff members to make sure that the photos are correct, the names are correct, and the students are also in the correct classroom. Now, for any reason you get a report back that says that a name is wrong, for instance, you have this student, the original, and then the retake, you'll see that the name is currently wrong on this retake. So all we have to do is come over here to this little blue button and we can click it, or we can click on the photo, come up to tag names. Here we can click on this edit button, click continue, and then we can change the student's name. Once the change has been made, you can click on save and then done. You will see the change takes immediate effect. The image library is also categorized by alphabetical order. So if we were to change the student's name, you will see the student would change positions. If you're informed that a photo is a duplicate, or in this case, this photo is a retake and the parent wishes to use this photo instead of the original, we want to block this photo from being used in our flow. To do that, we can click on the student, we can click on this blue dot or the tag name to bring up this screen. We'll come over here to the Details tab. Click here, and then we're going to see this section called Use Portrait. Currently, Use Portrait is selected. We're going to click this down arrow. We're going to come over here to Don't Use Portrait, apply the change, and click Done. Here you will see Don't Use in front of the photo, and that's telling you that the program will not use that photo when they flow the images. If you have a student that is not listed and needs a no photo, we could come over here to no photo, and this part is very important. When we select the no photo that we want, we can click on the photo and come up here to tag name. This part is the most important of all right here. We want to remove this tag. All of these no photos have been tagged name last. If we were to change the name to first and then hit save and then done, you will notice that all the no photos now have first name. So if we were to tag this with the missing student, all of these no photos would be tagged that missing student. To prevent this, we are going to click this little button right here to remove this tag. Now that the tag has been broken, we're going to come up here to add, and we're going to fill out the required information. Once we have the required information filled out, which is first name and last name, we're going to hit save and done. Now, if this photo right here was to start with any letter of the alphabet after N, it would populate right here at the bottom, but because it didn't, it stayed right here. Again, the image library sorts images according to alphabetical order. Once we have this, we can click and hold with the left mouse button. We can drag it to the class that we need this photo in, and we can safely do that because we see the word move next to the number of images in there. We can let go of the button, and that image has now moved, and the number of images have changed. When we come back to this class, we can see that the no photo is right here. If for any reason you have a student image and that student for any reason cannot have their photo displayed in the yearbook, what you can do is you can click that blue dot right there or the tag, go to details. Under use portrait, you can click this down arrow right here and you can say use no photo. We're going to apply changes and done. Now here it will say no photo in front of this image. When we go to flow, we will show you what it says when you flow that image in. Next, we're going to do set up the flow. All right, once we get up to the page that we want to set the flow on, we can do this one of two ways. We can, one, come up to design. We can click this down arrow. We can come down to portrait, then either under all portrait, or we can, if we have a specific number of students that we know, like this class had over 35, so we can go between 31 and 40 photos, and we can select one of these templates. And we can select them by simply clicking and holding, dragging that template onto the page. There is the template right there. It has a flow element right here, and we know this is a flow element because it has the portrait of the person, and it will have a spot for the teacher right here. This is an image frame, and we know this is an image frame because it has a picture of the mountains and the sun. The other thing we could do is we could come to flow and select one of these 6 flow elements by simply clicking and holding and dragging onto the page. Once we have the flow element on here, if we click on it, we'll see that this toolbar opens up right above it. This toolbar allows us to set up this flow before we move the students into or staff into it. We can change the font of the names. We can change the style, the size of the font, the coloring of the font. We could put a border around the photos. We can also adjust how thick the border is. We can bold the names. We can make them italic. We can underline them. We can change whether or not they're proper case or all uppercase. Next is probably the most important part of this toolbar, and that's the flow options. We could click here, and here are the flow options. Quick note, by clicking this little thumbtack here, this becomes movable, and you can move it out of the way so you can see your work on either page. First, we want to uncheck automatic. If we leave it checked and we start decreasing the number of rows, here you can see the flow element starts to change. So by unchecking automatic, when we change the row, you can see that the portraits stay the same size, and the only thing that changes is the number of rows or the number of columns. So next, here are these rows and columns again. Rows are left to right, columns are up and down, and you can change these so that you can have the set number of boxes that you want. This also makes it easier if you want to move your flow element down to put stuff up front, or move it in the middle so you can put stuff up top and around the bottom. By leaving it like this, you are unable to move it without it snapping back into place and getting this error message here at the bottom. Once we get the rows and columns set up the way we want, next is our width and height. Here we can change the height so we can make them taller. If we want to make them wider, you'll see that we are getting this error message at the bottom. This is because the program does not want you to go outside this blue box with the portraits. Once we have gotten to the width and height that we want them, next we have portrait spacing. It's suggested for an element like this, you can leave this alone. For elements like this, you can change the vertical so that the names are a little bit closer together, or the horizontal, you can change this so that they're a little more tighter together. Next is the name width. We suggest leaving this alone as well. Next is the portrait shape. Here you can change whether it's a rectangle, circles, diamond, octagon. It is up to you. Traditionally, advisors will leave them as squares. You can also, for a little more design, you can round off the corners just a little bit. Here you will see on this page that the names are on the left and we want them on the right. So we can click this name options right here, come down to name on left horizontal, click that box, and you can see names on right horizontal. So by clicking here, the names have switched locations. If you want to, you can also just turn off the names altogether. Once we have our flow element set up the way we want, we could come back over here to flow. Here we can select our category. We can select person or the school that we want to flow. The name format, we can say we want the first name first, last name last, or we want the last name first and the first name last. Here it will tell us how many images are in the folder, how many images are flowed, 0 because we haven't flowed any. Number of remaining images, 22. Here is our start and stop. Now we want to start on page 15 and we want to stop on page 15. That's what this start and stop means. Here it's going to tell you you have 0 available positions. That's because we didn't do the one thing that we need to do after making any and all changes on our book. We need to save. So let's come up here to the save icon and we can click save. You can also come up here to file and come down to save as well. Once we hit save, we have told the program to update itself, and once it's done that, you will see that there's 35 available positions. We can hit flow, and here you will see that the images have flowed into the boxes. Any additional boxes such as these 3 right here will simply disappear. They are not gone, they're just simply hidden. Now, for any reason that we have another student or another staff member join and we need another box for them, we can simply come over here and hit reset. Once we hit reset, the boxes that were used will remain. The other box that we need, we double click on the blue box here. We see this little eye in the corner. With it like this box is turned on. Here you will see this box is turned off. By clicking the eye, we bring this box back, click to the side, and there we go. This box is now brought back. If we forget to save, a pop-up will appear that asks us if we want to save our changes before we move forward. After flowing, you can see that some of the heads are cut off here. To fix that, all you have to do is double click on them. You will see the crop icon right here. You can click that. You will see just the lone image itself. You can drag it down just a little bit, click off of it. You go to the next one, drop it down just a little bit, click off of it. If you still see that their heads are being cropped off, you can come back over, hit reset, click on here, come up to your stroke, and maybe you need to downgrade how thick your border is. Once you're done with that, save. Now once you flow, you could go back. Unfortunately, you have to go back and redo some of your work, but you can see that it looks a lot better with a smaller border than it did with a thicker border. Once you're done with all the edits, you can click off of there and there's your flow. Any changes to the flow will have to reset the images and make any and all changes. Next, you will see that these images have unknown name. That's because these images were not tagged. Tag an image real quick. All you have to do is come back over here. You can hit this little eye right here, or you could go back to your image library and hit that little blue dot or tag image. When we click this image right here, we can come up to add. All right, here we can type in the person's name, hit save. And if you want to keep going, just hit next and it will go to the next one. Once we're done, you can hit done, reset. Once you reset, you can see that the teacher name is right here. You can see this little tag right here. This person lets us know that this person is tagged. And then we can hit flow again. Here you will see this person's name now appears, and if we spent the time to tag the rest of them, the rest of their names would appear right here. Now here we have the class that we added the no photo to. We also turned off one of the students' photos, and we also toggled a no photo for a student. Now here we're going to set up the flow the same way. We're going to go to the category, select the teacher, the name format. It will tell us how many images there are. We're going to change the start to page 15. We're going to change the stop to page 15, and we're going to hit flow. Now here we have the class that is flowed. The student that had the extra photo, his photo is not appearing, just his retake. The student that had the no photo is now right here at the bottom. The student that had the photo that could not be placed in the yearbook, by default, you will see no photo available. Now, one issue we do see right here, a lot of yearbook advisors like to have the teacher listed first. Here we have the teacher listed in the middle. To fix this, all we have to do is reset, scroll down to where the teacher is. Here we have the teacher's photo. We can click this little dot right here, go over to details, come down to type. the teacher was listed as a student. Click down this down arrow here, and this is the different hierarchy. A teacher will flow first, followed by assistant, then student, then other. So we want to list her as the teacher so that she can be flowed first. Apply changes and click done. If you don't see the change take hold, simply refresh your page, and here you can see the change has been made. Once again, we double check our category, double check our start and stop. We see we have enough positions. The teacher is now first, and we can click flow. Here we can see the teacher has flowed first, followed by the rest of the students in alphabetical order. We ask that you take this time to double check all the students, double check names, spellings, and for any duplicate images as well. When making some of these checks for duplicated images, corrected names, or making sure students are in the correct class, you may come across one or two flows that look like this. They may have a red X in the names. What this is telling you is that the names are actually larger than the box that they are in. What we need to do is lower the font size of these names. So we can come over here, we can hit reset, click on the box to bring up our toolbar. Here we can see where we're at 14. We may want to go down to 13. So we can click inside this box, hit backspace, then 3, enter, and it brings down the fonts just a little bit. Once we do that, we hit save, then we can hit flow. Here you can see that the red X is gone, and we can keep these names right here. For any reason we need to keep going, we could just go down by increments of 1 until the names fit. I want to thank you for joining us. This demonstration of the functions related to the creation of portrait pages should eliminate some of the trial and error that occur when working on the yearbook. Printing portrait sheets and editing class data ahead of time should result in better accuracy on some of the most important pages of a yearbook. Feel free to call or email if you have any further questions. Thank you for joining us, and have a great day.